So I'm just going to go ahead and warn you guys right now that there will be a couple of gameplay and story spoilers in amongst this review. If you're not with that, just wait until the game comes out later tonight and you can go ahead and pick it up yourselves. If you still want to see my review on it, then by all means, Chief, sit down, kick back, relax, and let's talk about Demon Slayer The Hinokami Chronicles. Let's hit it.
Everybody like, hey, are you ready to go? Ready to go? Everybody like, hey.
Okay, alright, so what is up, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So if it wasn't obvious, today we're gonna be doing a review, a full-on review for Demon Slayer The Hinokami Chronicles. Now, this isn't your typical review where we do a crazy deep dive, whatever. We're gonna keep it simple. I like to kick back, relax, and chill, and just talk about my opinions on the game, and hopefully you like to do that too. And that's what this is gonna be, a little kickback. Just sit back and listen with your Coke, your dinner, your breakfast maybe even your lunch. I don't know when you're listening to this, but whatever the case may be, let's kick back and relax and talk a little bit about Demon Slayer The Hinokami Chronicles. So, this is actually my first time getting out a reasonable timed review. I've never had an opportunity like this, and I would like to thank Sega, I would like to thank Dom for just being able to get a hands on a review copy. That was amazing, alright? And this is not gonna go to waste. I did play this game thoroughly, and I really wanted to talk about this game because this is one of my most anticipated games this year, and I was really looking forward to it. And now that I had it and I've done everything that I can while waiting for online, it's about time we talk about it, right? So like I said, I'm going to be keeping it very simple. I'm going to be explaining the game a little bit for those that don't know it, and then I'm going to be going over my likes and my dislikes, and then we're going to wrap it up with my overall opinion. Sound good? Does that sound good to you? Because that definitely sounds good to me. So, for those who are not aware, okay, if you don't know, just in case for those that are just looking for a game to play, whatever, that don't really know anything about it, this is an anime arena fighter that follows the story of Demon Slayer, okay? And it goes all the way up until the recent anime arc, which is Mugen Train. So, for those of you that have watched Demon Slayer, you already know how long it took you to catch up to the anime, so you'll probably have an idea of where the game is going to end for you. And for those of you that don't know, you got a decent length game on your hands, I'd pretty much say as far as a story mode goes. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. But that's all I'm gonna say. If you know what an arena fighter is, cool. If you don't, basically it's a 1v1 situation where you have an open arena and you can do a lot of different movements to get around, but it's not your generic 2D fighter. I'll put it like that. And most anime games, fighting games specifically, seem to follow this trope. Why this happens, I have no idea. I guess it's just very fitting for anime games. So, whatever the case may be, that's how it is. So, now that I've summed up a little bit of the game for you guys without saying too much, you'll probably see a lot of gameplay on the screen that'll pretty much sum up exactly what I'm saying. So anyway, now that you know, let's keep it nice and simple. I'm going to go over my likes and my dislikes, and we're going to wrap it up with my overall opinion and probably some kind of score or rating. We'll see what happens when we get there. So, let's start talking about my likes first, alright? So, this game was developed by Cyberconnect 2, and they made sure to show that throughout this game, okay? For one thing, I have always loved that classic Cyberconnect 2 style that they give to their anime games. When it comes to their art style and their animations, it's absolutely immaculate. They find a way to turn our 2D beloved anime into these 3D insane animations that we can move around ourselves. They truly give us the power to step into these characters and put ourselves in their shoes for a minute, because it looks so good and they feel so good. If there is anybody else that has this power, it might be Arc System Works, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have played fighters by now. I would be very shocked if you haven't, but there are not a lot of games that can do it like Arc Systems, or specifically Cyberconnect 2. Cyberconnect 2 is very familiar with their anime games. They've developed tons, especially one of their most notable works was the Storm series, and then most recently Dragon Ball Kakarot. When these guys are handed the keys to development, they know exactly which way to drive with it, and that very much shows in this game. They know how to make the anime style very present within the game while still giving it a unique look all on its own. And that is a magic touch right there that I am very glad that they have, and that I am very hopeful for when it comes to future anime games coming from them. I have literally no doubt in them when it comes to anime games when they have the time to do so. Okay, so absolutely love that. Just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, I love the anime style. I love the art style in this game. It's very pretty to look at, and it's very, very close to the anime in of itself, and the manga, and just the story of Demon Slayer. You can just feel the Demon Slayer. I don't even know how else to say that. It just looks and feels good. Okay. And speaking of keeping things nice and at home, that music be going dummy. Now, for one thing, we do need to recognize that there's obviously going to be a lot of reused tracks from the anime as well as the movie, but that's totally fine. That's kind of to be expected. You know, that's Demon Slayer's whole thing. It's its very unique style of music, and they still went out of their way to add new tracks as well, specifically for battle, which I very much appreciate. And those battle themes be going off, boy. Them Battlefield musics, bro. Musics? Wow, I can't believe I said that out loud. Those Battlefield songs go crazy sometimes. There's one track in particular that I was recording gameplay with, and I can't remember where it was specifically, but I have it somewhere, and I'm going to look so hard to find that clip. I'm not deleting anything until I find that clip, because Lord knows that song was going crazy, bro, and I want that in my arsenal for whenever, because that's some good ass music, bro. They know how to do it up there, man. Whatever studio they hire for that music, I'm gonna look into them, because honestly, shoot, play that at my funeral, you know what I'm saying? And so, with that, we love what they gave us when it comes to the music as well. Alright? Moving on from that, we just need to talk about the characters themselves, okay? Not only are they designed well, but they feel good. They feel good to play as, okay? I'm gonna talk about the fighting in a second, but I need you guys to understand that these characters feel very accurate to how we would imagine they would feel, okay? Like, it's the perfect transfer from anime, manga, or whatever to the game itself, okay? Like, you would hop into battle with a Inosuke, or Zenitsu, Tanjiro, Nezuko, whatever, and you look at them and be like, yeah, this is exactly how they would do it, how they would move, how they would dodge, how they would fight. It feels so accurate to their characters, and they're just built well. Not even different, they're just built well, because they shouldn't be different from what we know. They're built like they're made to fight that way, and they transferred over perfectly into a video game, and that's a beautiful thing to look at and be able to have control over. It's awesome, and I absolutely love everything about that. I had my mains picked out from day one specifically because I was like, dang, these characters look really good. And so far, I've actually stuck with them. Again, we'll see what happens when we get the demons for the DLC as well as online, because I haven't been able to play online yet. Like I said, we'll talk about that later. But for now, everything that I've done so far, my mains are very safe. Like, I love my character. I play as Nezuko and Sabito, and those dudes are crazy, okay? I love my up-close action, but I love my speedy swords play too, okay? And they got what I need. They got what I need. Although there is another candidate, which is, what's his name, Momoko? But, well, I don't know. We'll have to see. When we take him online, we'll see what happens. Everything might change up more than you know. So, we'll see how things play out. So, now, talking about the actual just game itself, the fighting in of itself, I'm gonna put it like this. This is the highest quality arena fighter that we have had since Storm. Okay, we have had a lot of arena fighters since Storm. Let me tell you right now. We've had Jump Force in the middle of everything. We've had Kill la Kill If. We've had the One Punch Man game. There was another one too. Did I say Kill la Kill already? Either way, we've had a couple of anime arena fighters that just didn't do everything exactly. Like, Jump Force had fun fighting mechanics and things like that, but I don't know, it felt very stiff, you know. And then Kill la Kill just kind of fell under the radar, unfortunately, because it came out too late. We'll put it like that. And then there was the One Punch Man game, which just didn't feel good at all, okay? I have to be completely honest with you, Eric Chief. But Demon Slayer right here, gameplay wise, I can absolutely say without a doubt, this is a top tier arena fighter right here. This is very high quality, not just in the fighting, which is amazing by the way. Very well made mechanics that really transfer over well, but then they made the maps look incredible, the music fits just right, and the fighting between these characters feel accurate and absolutely epic, and they feel very fast and fluid. Okay, this also transfers over to the story mode when you're seeing their beautiful animations done during their quick time events or during just regular fights and everything like that. You even got stylized enemies and stuff like that for special battles, which I appreciate very much. Like, I love that they went out of their way to design these very specific enemies just to, you know, get a handle on the game and things like that. I very much appreciate that, and it came out very well. Love that. Love that they did that for us. Okay, so this is a very, very high quality arena fighter that we have not had in a very hot minute, and I have a lot more faith in this one than I've had in a lot of arena fighters lately. So hopefully it doesn't fall too flat, you know what I mean? There's a couple of things that we need to talk about as to why that would happen, but we'll get to that in a minute, okay? And the last thing that I really wanted to talk about is also regarding the story, which is where it's very accurate, and I love that it's very close to the story that we know, while also adding in new things that we didn't even really know about from the manga or the anime in of itself. And it did a very good job of just subtly introducing these new little things that we didn't even know. You know, it wasn't anything absolutely balls to the wall or crazy, but it was nice to see. Okay, and I very much appreciate that. They didn't need to do anything like that, but they did, and honestly, I like the way it happened. It was very simple, it wasn't anything too insane, they did a good job, and I like that a lot. So, anyway, so there's that, okay, and then the last thing is that they introduced these little exploration sections at the beginning of a chapter where you would just run around, talk to different people, whatever, whether you're playing as Tanjiro or Zenitsu sometimes, whatever. Most of the time it's Tanjiro. You would walk around, you would talk to people, and you would get these collectibles for doing everything in those areas. Now, usually I would completely ignore stuff like that, but because I was incentivized, because I actually got rewarded for that, I did everything. There was a very good incentive to actually make, you know, conversing with these NPCs and getting a little bit more background and story worth it. They did a very good job in incentivizing me to go out of my way to talk to them, because otherwise I would have completely just skipped over it and not bothered. But they did a very good job of incentivizing me to get everything in the story, because they made it very simple. It was very simple collectibles, and all I had to do was talk to some NPCs and just make sure it was all around, you know? Like, on the map there, it shows where you would need to go to get that item or that collectible or that, you know, that conversation that you're missing. And I made sure to do all of them. I even went out of my way to go back when I would miss one, because I was just that determined. So, yeah, I think they did a good job on that. So, I'm gonna leave it at that for my likes right now, because we gotta get to my dislikes. There's a couple of them. There's a couple of things here and there that did not sit too well with me per se that I really want to just talk about. Okay, now here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing, is that a lot of my issues actually do lie with the story mode. Okay, and one of those huge things is that you do a lot more watching than playing. Now, I understand Demon Slayer. I've watched Demon Slayer twice already, as well as the movie like 3 times, so it can't really be helped considering that Demon Slayer in of itself has a lot more dialogue and story in between its battles in comparison to Dragon Ball or Naruto, which is your generic shonen. There's actual story in Demon Slayer. Not that Naruto doesn't have story, please don't get me wrong. Dragon Ball though, I love Dragon Ball, but come on. Come on, bro. Anyway, there's a lot more dialogue and story in between battles and stuff like that, and so they wanted to save time by not visiting anybody's past or whatever, and they would throw them into little movies that you have to get to optionally, and then they would also have just a lot of cutscenes in general in between battles, which is why we had so much time during those exploration sections. We would explore, we would go around, we'd get all these collectibles, which was a good trade-off per se, but I can't lie, Chief, I can't sit here and say that I was completely engrossed going through a very watered down version of the story a third time while trying to play an action-packed fighting game, okay? Now, I won't say that I wasn't completely engrossed. I did enjoy myself. However, it did feel very slow at times, and I was just like, there were times where unfortunately I was like, okay, well, you know, next battle's around the corner, come on, like, Tanjiro, can you speed it up just a little bit, buddy? Come on. So, that's not really too much of the fault of the game. I can't really blame the game for that, because that's just the story thing. Like, that was very hard to get around, and I do appreciate the work that they did to help get around that by allowing us to explore and things like that. I very much appreciate it. However, it did feel slow at times, and that just couldn't really be helped. So, just something that I wanted to get off my chest. Now, here's where my real dislikes come through. Now, when I was talking about those segments of the story where you would wander around as Tanjiro and get all these collectibles and things like that, would it have killed? Would it have killed to, at the very least, have added a run button? Or even, now hear me out, I could be crazy, a jump button. It felt very slow and stiff and kind of aggravating to not be able to speed up Tanjiro anymore unless he himself decided to speed up, or there would only be certain segments where I could jump over things. Why couldn't we just have the power to jump over that fence ourselves? Why couldn't we have the power, if we wanted to speed things up, to just dash to certain areas? Because I can't lie, y'all made those areas pretty damn big, and we had to do a lot of walking to get to certain places, and I can't front with you, Chief, that's a little infuriating, okay? It was very slow sometimes, and that's kind of what killed me a little bit. Like, I was like, alright, come on. Oh, there's an item way back there that I accidentally forgot. I guess I gotta go all the way back, and I had to run. Tanjiro did his slow little run, his little jog, and that killed me a little bit. It's like, why can we not have a speed up or some kind of run button? Why do we not have that? Unless I completely missed the run button. I could be crazy, but I don't think there was any. Okay, now here's another thing. The ones with Tanjiro, those were bearable. I could get through those, whatever. I'd look past it. But there are times where I would be able to control Zenitsu or Inosuke. Inosuke was fine, but at the same time, it felt pointless. Do you understand what I'm getting at? It felt pointless because the only time that you would be able to get collectibles and things like that was when you were playing as Tanjiro. With Zenitsu, you would be moving slow as hell. And while they were funny moments, I gotta say, Chief, it made things a little bit unnecessarily slower, you know? Like, we could have had that in its own cutscene. I would have just watched it gladly, you know? It would have been funny to have the game have its own unique little scenes of him walking through the forest and getting scared by animals or spiders or whatever, but instead I had to control it myself, and it was infuriating that I couldn't just press some kind of auto button to let him wander through himself, you know? Like, stuff, a lot of that stuff could have easily been turned into a miniature cutscene or something fun, but I had to control it myself, and that slowed things down a lot, you know? So, that really sucks that felt overall pretty pointless to the point where it was infuriating to even bother with. And then there was Inosuke, which is, you only get to play as one time in the story mode. Like, you legit ran through as that man. Or not in the entire story mode, sorry. But in the free roaming section where he was running fast. I was like, this is the speed I want, but I'm going around a corner. There's no collectibles. There's nothing in that hallway. I'm just running through as Inosuke. What was the purpose of this? This could have been completely avoided or put in a cutscene or something like that to completely just save time. Like, there was no reason to develop this. Maybe I'm crazy. That's just me. I don't know. I just feel like it could have been avoided. Okay. For people that aren't completionists, I feel like overall those segments would be pretty infuriating. Me personally, I'm not even a completionist, but I do like to get as much as I possibly can. And I ended up, because it was so easy to do, I ended up 100% in the story. So, yeah. For anybody that's not a completionist, good luck. Try to bear with it a little bit, okay? The next thing that's a kind of a gripe is that some of these bosses were a little more annoying than fun. There's one boss in particular, that really got on my nerves. I'm not gonna say which one, but it was very annoying instead of making it a unique boss fight, okay? And then some of the, actually, I take it back. A lot of these boss fights kind of end up doing a little bit of the same thing. And it kind of just, all it does is slow things down, okay? They do get harder and they do get more challenging and more fun down the line, but for a little while they do get repetitive and even more annoying sometimes. I will put it like that. And it's very unfortunate that we couldn't have more situations where in the middle of the battle, you know, they'd pull off something crazy, you know, for quick time events. We just have to battle all the way through until their health gets to a certain point. And it's like, what? This battle is taking so long because there's really not much else I can do right now. But okay, if you say so, Chief. Yeah, that I don't really want to go too in depth with that because there's very specific bosses that I want you guys to find out for yourselves, whatever. But I will say it like that, that some of them were more annoying than anything. Okay, we're gonna move on. One of my biggest gripes was that the quick time events in this game were very short and very simple, and that was unfortunate. I really had a lot of my hopes in these quick time events, okay? Again, I come from Ninja Storm, and those quick time events were absolutely immaculate. This was developed by the same exact people. So to see these very simple, very short, very watered down quick time events was kind of sad. Like, they just happened so fast. Like, none of them were actually challenging. 90% of the time, it was maybe 1 or 2 buttons. Sometimes, maybe like 10% of the time, there was like a mash it really quickly or whatever. There wasn't even any struggles. Nothing like that. It was just press this button and then maybe get to the one flame. If you could just get this one flame, then you get the secret little cutscene thing that happens before the final hit. But why were they so simple? There could have been a little more in there. I just felt it was just so bare bones and so quick that I barely even call them quick time events. It was just a quick event. And that's it. I just felt like it felt a little short there because they were very not challenging whatsoever. Like, I had plenty of time to figure out which button I needed to press. Rarely, actually, I don't think I failed even one quick time event. Not one. It was not hard at all. Anybody could figure that out. And I don't know, it was just a little disappointing that they weren't a little more challenging. That's all. All right. And then 2 final things that actually mostly have to do with the menu. The menu in general feels a little lazy. I will be completely honest with you. Again, I come from these other games with these crazy startup animations, like animes, whatever. We come to Demon Slayer, we get a picture, we log in, and it just transitions into more pictures on, you know, next to the story mode, the versus mode, online or whatever. It's very, very simple, and while they look nice, they animate the character models and things like that for the pictures, the 2D pictures, they look very nice, but it feels very plain. It feels very bare bones. It feels very just plain, like there's really not that much to look at, you know? And that's... I mean, the pictures were drawn specifically for the game and they look very nice, they're very well drawn. But we ain't got nothing to show. No animations? Like, I was playing Tales of Berseria just a couple weeks ago and we had an animation for the intro. Like, or for the menu, actually. Like, we had something, you know? There's like no animations at all. It's just pictures. And that's like, it feels kind of lazy to look at, you know? It gets the job done, but I feel like there could have been more for that, okay? And then my final thing is that it's kind of crazy to me that we don't have any more modes. Like, we don't have like a tournament mode. We don't have some kind of challenge mode or something like that. That menu right now, as we speak, is pretty barren, okay? It's gonna get very repetitive going into online and just logging right back out, okay? You do the story mode, you enjoy it. Then you go online, you fight, you learn these different characters. Maybe you can go competitive with it. Maybe you log off. I don't know. But for casual players, it's gonna be very bare bones to not have some other challenge mode or anything other than just the story mode and online. It feels very empty, you know, to say the least. And it's a very bold move to do something like that, especially when you even look at something like Smash Ultimate, okay, which has tons of different modes and things to do for you, and most people just play online anyway, and, you know, whatever, and the game kind of goes very slow and gets very dry for a while. Still has a very massive player base, but, you know, for even them to be struggling with something like that, it's very bold for you guys to go in with no other modes or anything like that. It was very interesting to see that, and I don't know, I just hope down the line that you guys give some kind of modes or whatever, because it's not too late. The game's not even out yet, I don't think, at this point in time. Actually, never mind, it probably is, sorry. By the time this is up, it's definitely up, but go I think go get your game. Either way, I don't want to confuse anybody or myself anymore, so we're going to go ahead and move on to my final overall thoughts. Now, here's my thing. I realize that I'm being a little picky because I have to look at it from a different perspective here. The reason I specifically went so hard on this game, and I'm sure that a lot of other like anime gaming people in the community will probably go very hard on this game, is because we are huge Ninja Storm fans and we grew up on these games. So our expectations, I won't speak for them, but me personally, my expectations were a bit through the roof for this one, okay? I've known Cyberconnect for a very long time, so I felt that one way or another they would end up coming through with this game, and I had a lot of faith in it. So while my expectations were crazy high, it delivered not that high, you know? And it seemed a little unfair because this is one of the better, I will say without a doubt that this is one of the better arena fighters that we've had in years, okay? This is one of the most high quality anime arena fighters that's actually going to be remembered, and it did a good job doing what it needed to do. But coming from, you know, the same company that developed one of the best arena fighters in the history of the genre, it's only fair to it's kind of expected to compare the two. And when you compare the two, it kind of turns out to be that this game here is a little bit of a watered down version of that. And, you know, it's still very good and very well made, but it's not Ninja Storm. Okay, that's something a lot of people need to keep in mind. This is something that I had to keep in mind going into this review even. You know, it's kind of fair and unfair to compare it, because when you have the best arena fighter made by, or the critically acclaimed, like, you just most well-known arena fighter versus a new arena fighter made by those very same people for a very beloved series, it's going to be impossible not to compare, especially when they look so similar, okay? So there's really not much you could do there. Now, if we had to give it a score right now, I would go ahead and give it like a 7.5. This was definitely quite the experience, and I can see myself coming back to the game very, very often, okay? I personally think that it's worth the buy. Now, this can definitely improve because I haven't even gotten to the online mode yet, which is going to be its own little review there, okay? It's going to be its own little review. We'll be talking about that very soon when we actually get our hands to be able to, when I actually get my hands on the online mode. We'll talk about that when we talk about that. So that's a little bit of a journey for another day. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and give out of 10 for now. This is not a permanent thing. But for now, I'm going to give it a solid 7.5. It did its job. I had a lot of fun. I couldn't get off the game for the most part. Even through the frustrations and the slow moments, I was still, for the most part, definitely enjoying myself. And I recommend the game. For anybody, if you like Demon Slayer, this is your game. Go do it. This is a very well-made game. Despite all of my problems with it, despite its flaws, it's still for the most part a pretty polished game that could use a little bit more touch-ups, a little bit more in the menu department for things to do, and hopefully more characters and things down the line that will just bring this game up and up and up and up until the next Hinokami Chronicles, because we are not even nearly done with the story. I tell you that right now. So we've got a lot to go. Maybe the next game could be even stronger. We'll see what happens. We'll see what plays out. But for now, I've already talked your ears off for like 30 minutes, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna pass the mic to you guys now. What do you guys think about Demon Slayer The Hinokami Chronicles? Did you like the way the game turned out? Do you not like the way the game turned out? Did you hate it? Do you love it? I want to hear all of you guys' opinions and everything in the comment section below, because you know that I'm always down there with you guys. Please never doubt that. But with that, I'm outro. I'd like to thank you again. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor, dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content like this, because we are still not done talking about Demon Slayer and things like that. So we'll get to it when we get to it. But either way, that's it. I'm outro. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.